The Dancer's Shoes by Olga Kass. A fairy tale. There once lived a little girl who carried a very large dream in a very small heart. She wished to become the finest dancer in all the world. Since dreams are expensive things, she worked whenever she could and saved every coin she earned, which shows how serious she was. Fortunately, an old dancer of great renown, whose joints were now stiff but whose eyes still understood dancing, took pity on her and gave her lessons almost for nothing. The girl had talent, and, what is rarer still, perseverance, so she learned quickly. Years passed, and one day the teacher said, "I have taught you all I know. Now you must go on alone. But before we part, I shall give you a secret piece of advice that was once given to me. To become unrivaled, you must have faithful helpers. Do you know who a dancer's best friends are?" "No," said the girl. "Think," said the teacher. "A musician has his instrument, a painter her brush, a writer his pen, and a dancer?" "Her dancing shoes," said the girl. The teacher smiled. A clever child. Yes, whoever truly belongs to dance must have a cherished pair. Without them, one never reaches the highest heights. "But where shall I find them?" asked the girl. "That I cannot tell," said the teacher. "Nor can I say what they will look like, high-heeled or low, pointed or round, thick-soled or thin. Each dancer has her own perfect pair. I found mine by accident when I worked as a maid for a lady of high society. She gave them to me because they pinched her feet dreadfully and made them bleed, which only proves that what is torture for one person may be treasure for another." "Good luck, dear child," said the teacher. "I shall not forget you. Farewell." The girl thanked her with all her heart and set out into the world. She searched in the finest shops and also danced in the poorest halls. She went to auditions and tried her fortune wherever dancers were needed. But time passed and no miracle came. The world of dance did not notice her, and the cherished shoes remained unfound. She tried on hundreds and then thousands of beautiful pairs, but none of them were her shoes. How hard it is, she thought, to look for something when one does not know what it is. Still, she continued. At last, fortune remembered her. In a small boutique on a grand street, she saw them. She knew at once that these were the shoes she had been seeking. It is curious how quickly the heart recognizes what the mind cannot explain. She entered the shop trembling. "These shoes are greatly reduced," said the salesman. The girl thought this a miracle and asked him to set them aside while she fetched her money. She hurried through the streets as if carried by wings. But when she returned, the salesman looked embarrassed. "The shoes have been sold." "How can that be?" cried the girl. "You promised to keep them." "A wealthy customer," sighed the salesman. "The wife of a diplomat. She needed shoes urgently, and it was impossible to refuse her. But perhaps they will not suit her, and she will return them. Many customers do." This was true. for people often return what they should never have bought. The diplomat's wife admired the shoes very much. They matched her new evening dress perfectly. "I am ready," she said to her husband. "Wonderful," he replied. "You will be the belle of the ball."
"Can you imagine?"
said the wife. "An old woman in the shop warned me not to buy these shoes, but I did not listen." "And wisely so," said her husband. "We must make a good impression on the minister." So they went to the reception. At first everything went splendidly. Gentlemen admired her elegance, and ladies admired it even more unwillingly. Then the music began. Suddenly, her feet began to dance. "My goodness!" she cried. "What is happening?" The more she tried to stop, the faster she danced. "Help!" she cried. The guests stared and then began to laugh, for her dancing was graceful, while her face showed pure terror. At last her husband caught her and carried her away. Even in his arms, her legs continued to dance in the air. On the way home, the shoes slipped from her feet, and at once the dancing stopped. There was a terrible scandal that night. The husband shouted and the wife wept. She understood that these were no ordinary shoes, and decided never to wear them again. But shoes have their own opinions in such matters. During the night, while she slept, they crept onto her feet and carried her dancing away into the darkness. She screamed and her husband ran into the room, but she was gone. The diplomat called the police, which is what diplomats always do when they cannot explain something. In the morning, she was found lying unconscious before a shoe shop, barefoot and exhausted. Soon afterward, the young dancer received 2 wonderful pieces of news. One message said that the shoes had been returned. The other said that she had been accepted into a famous dance troupe. And thus she found both her shoes and her destiny, which, as everyone knows, often arrive together, though rarely at the moment we expect them.